What is going on, folks? How are you doing on this Sunday morning? Let's get you set up over here for now so you can see what I'm doing. And let's pull the machine forward. All right, this is a 2003 Honda. I believe they call it a CMX 250 Rebel. I could be wrong. We all know them as the Honda 250 Rebel. Millions of you guys started riding on these bikes. If excuse me, if you live in the state of Pennsylvania and you've taken the motorcycle safety course, they use a lot of these machines. They're lightweight, reasonably powerful enough for a beginner, and basically almost impossible to kill. They do run forever. They changed this out a little bit. The new style is the 300 Rebel and a 500 Rebel, and they basically made the machine quite a bit more sporty than it used to be. Okay, so it's a little something different. I know you guys are used to me watching me work on Harley Davidsons and whatnot. Well, not every bike that comes in the shop is a Harley Davidson. We work on metric bikes. We work on anything, dude. If your motorcycle doesn't fire up and run, or does and doesn't run properly, get a hold of me. This is what I do. This is not what I do for a living. It's what I do on the side to help people and put a few extra bucks in my pocket. So, if you do want your bike fixed, don't expect it to be an overnight process. Unless it's something ridiculously easy and I like you enough that I'm willing to stop what I'm doing. Because this time of year, I work 50, sometimes 60 hours a week at my day job. And let's be honest, that's what pays the bills. So, what we got going on here, I'm going to talk to y'all real quick while I get some coffee ready. Because it is Sunday morning still, and I have not had enough of my favoriteest thing in the world on a Sunday morning, and that is coffee. Okay. All right. What is you guys' view? Hey, I'm going to flip this around the other way. So, well, actually, no, I'm not. Screw it. All right, so I'll get to reading you guys' comments later. I would prefer to be doing this with like a webcam and my laptop. I have more options, or my GoPro hooked up to it. I have more options as far as how good you're going to be able to see this. And YouTube and Google don't like me to say this, but the algorithm just doesn't spit my videos out there as far as the lives unless they come in a vertical feed like this. Because lots of people watch from their phone. Let's be honest, YouTube is competing with TikTok. TikTok is all on your phone, and that's how they want it. So, sorry you won't be able to see things super close. We're going to do the best we can. Now, this bike came in last Saturday. I had another motorcycle I was working on, a Harley Davidson Sportster. We got it about tidied up, but we found another problem, and it's going to be quite a bugger to fix. So I had enough time to diagnose this bike when the owner was here. And I pretty much come to the conclusion, I think I know what the problem is. I think we got a needle valve that's stuck and possibly a float that's out of adjustment. Because it does run on ether, in other words, starting fluid. If you fire it up alone with no starting fluid, it'll run for a few seconds and then shut itself off. It's definitely starting for fuel. We've got spark, we've got compression, we verified that. The first thing we're going to do once we get done grinding this damn coffee, first thing we're going to do is pop the fuel line off the carburetor. I'll get you guys moved to the other side, or I'll just turn the bike around so you can see what I'm doing a little better. I'm going to pop the fuel line off the carburetor, stick it into a bottle or something to catch the fuel. We're going to turn it on. We're going to see if we're getting fuel to the carburetor from the petcock. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really hope that we are not, because then my life will be a whole lot easier. But if we are getting fuel into the carburetor, but it's not getting from the carburetor into the cylinders. Now we know we got to pull the carburetor and full with that. I should have bought an electric one of these. This is what you get for being cheap. People want to see some motorcycle fixing, and you get some fat dude grinding coffee. That's exactly what you want to see, ain't it? Hey, look, man, if you ain't got a sense of humor, if you can't make fun of yourself a little bit, stay the hell off the internet. Just saying. Just saying. Cut that short. We're only going to brew like a few cups here, just enough to get me amped up a little more than I already am on a Sunday morning. Yeah, that should do it. That ought to be enough to make some strong brew. All right. What would be the best way to do this and illustrate it so you guys can see? But bring it over here. Can you see what I'm doing? Like, that is the best for me, right where you're at. That's honestly the best for me. You can see what tools I'm grabbing and shit. But what I'm going to be working on is on this side of the bike. Let me flip the bike around, and then we'll scoot you down a little lower so you can get it up in your teeth and see what's going on. And I'll flip the screen around right quick so that I can read your comments, and fuck with the trolls that try to fuck with me, as well as try to teach something to the people who actually tune in here on the weekends to learn something about motorcycles. So the bike is so light and easy to maneuver. It's also got a flat front tire. We're going to address that because the feller brought it here in a pickup truck, and I really don't feel like trying to wrestle this thing up and onto the ramp of his pickup truck like I did last time. And I'd a lot rather him get a ride over here, fire this bike up and ride it home. That's what I want to see. There's a good position right there. Do we want to use the bike lift on this little devil? No, we don't, because we're going to be riding right on the exhaust if we do, and I don't want to do that. One more thing before I get started. I have to check this real quick here. Make sure they sent me the right thing. Specialty Harley Davidson tools, because my old ones literally exploded the last time I used them. Simply because I bought cheap ones. But it's not something you'll use real often. Yes, they are the correct tools. Good. I'll show you what I'm dealing with here in just a second. This is for a job that we're probably going to be beginning on maybe tomorrow. Unfortunately, you guys are not going to see what I'm doing. Not everybody who brings their bike to me wants their bike to be broadcasted on the internet. Coincidentally, cost you a little more. I give you a discount if I can make these videos with your bike. Simple. These go in between the, imagine this is the gears on your clutch basket, and in between the primary chain and clutch basket and the motor sprocket on a Harley Davidson, because we got to take that whole primary drive apart. There is something severely worn out in there, and I know what it is. Unfortunately, it's going to be a devil to get to. Enough about that. This is what you're here to see. Just set up where you can see a little better what I'm doing. Front tire's flat, my man. Front tire's flat. Hey, what's up, Charlie? What's up, Joe? You guys flipped around here. Now I can read your commentary and such while I'm doing this. All right, let's get you down a little lower, maybe. Can we do? Come on, start working with me. All right, like I said, I already diagnosed this bike, but I'll do it on camera just to do it. Okay, make sure the fuel is on. It's on, actually. Shits and giggles. Let's take it to reserve. Key, full choke, fire it up. Oh, all right. She fired right up on just fuel on. It don't want to do it on reserve. All right. I do know it runs. I had it running on starting fluid. Let's give her a snort of the good stuff. Okay. It's that simple. We verified. You got spark, you got compression, you got fire, right? The only thing you ain't got is fuel. This is your fuel. It's sucking in the engine's running. We just got to verify, why isn't it getting fuel? So how simple is it going to be, or how much of a pain in the ass is it going to be? First thing we're going to do, we're going to pop open the, pop off the fuel line there. Let me get something to catch the stuff that's going to dribble on out. What the hell do I got handy? Nothing. I have to go into my garbage can probably and fix something up. And I get a pop can or something here that I can mess with. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take this and get a pair of snippety snips. Yeah, that didn't work out as expected. Damn it. Come on now. Just need like a little cup, and I'm not using my coffee cup, damn it. It ain't happening. What do I have handy that I can catch some freaking fuel in, huh? Without like making a huge mess. I guess I could use the actual fuel bottle. It's kind of big and hard for y'all to see, but it'll work. This would have been my next option, to fill this up with gasoline and hang it from the bike. Really didn't want to do that, though. All right, what do we need to get there? A pair of needle nosies, and a pair of needle nosies should be all we need for that. We got that. Alrighty. All right, coffee's ready. Right on. Ah, it stinks like starting fluid and burnt starting fluid in here. It's getting me a buzz. I dig it. Don't light a cigarette, that's for sure. Gotta let that shit dissipate a little. Ooh, that's good. It's not as strong as I normally make it. It's actually pretty good that way. I'm gonna have to try to brew it with a little less coffee. Let's get you guys right up into the teeth here so you can see. Yep, that's exactly it, man. Fuel delivery. Okay. Y'all should feel special. I actually cleaned the garage and swept the floor before I started today. Trying to look professional. Turn the fuel off. Which, guys, we use these little ones right here. And take this guy and just maybe hang him right here for the time being so he's out of the way. That'll work. I really don't like these little spring clamps. So many manufacturers use them, but they're kind of crap. They just are. All right. And you guys see, let's get you closer, because this is the moment of truth. All right. Do we have to pull the carburetor or not? Let's see. Turn the fuel on. All right. That verified it right there. You see that? We absolutely 100% have fuel going to the carburetor. We know that. So that means the goddamn carburetor has to come off, which also tells me that the problem on this machine is most likely 100% the needle valve. I'm going to guarantee you that, but I'm going to go through the motions of showing you how to open up one of these little guys and diagnose it. Let me find something here that I'm looking for. I want like a bolt or something to jam inside of this fuel line so that it doesn't drip upon my floor. That clamp slid back a little bit since I took the time to actually clean my floor up halfway decent here. Well, it's a little bit too big to work, but it should. Thread that up in a little bit like such. Probably won't even need a clamp, honestly. There we go. That way that can hang down and it won't cause me no aggravation that way. It won't drip the fuel on my floor. Where did I put the lid for this son of a basket? This thing here, this is a pretty cool thing to have if you do a lot of carburetor work. It's an auxiliary fuel tank. So you can have the gas tank off the bike while you're tuning your carburetor and you reach your carburetors easily. And you hang this from the bars and run the fuel line to your carb. It's like if you're tuning like a 4-cylinder Japanese bike, you got 4 carbs, they're buried in there, really hard to get to. That thing makes your life so much easier. Cheap. Buy you one. You'll love it. Okay. Let's get the notes from yesterday's workings on off the board, because we're going to put some new notes to help you guys follow along with what we're doing. Get you backed out here a little bit. Hey, there's 6 of y'all. I'm going to bring you my vacuum gauges. Dude, I just bought a set. I have a good set now. Appreciate it, though. Yeah, I just, that's my buddy Joe there, guys, speaking to y'all. Where in the devil are they? I think they're across the room over there. But I actually spent some money this time, and I ordered a quality set, and they work pretty damn good. I have my crappy old set, but we actually spent a few bucks and got a better, more quality set of vacuum gauges this time, and they actually do the job good now, man. Just because, I'm fooling with more bikes now, and it ain't just my own, it's somebody else's machine. So if it's my own and there's a little bobble because she's not running right, I'll figure it out. But if it's somebody else's bike, when it leaves the shop, it's got to be right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, right on. Those were used once on a 2-cylinder Kawasaki. All right, so let's get started here with the notes taking. So, to carb. Note number 2. So we got fuel to the carb, not to the engine. Next step, remove the carburetor. So let's make that happen. Mind you, I should be changing the oil on my electric glide right now, but I want to get this little guy done and out the way. Yep. Looks like we screwed down back here with 2 screws. Do we have to take the seat off? I don't think we do. Let me get up in here a little closer and have a better look. Looks like 210 mils. 210 mils here on the flange to the motor. Got a couple vac lines to remove. I got a vacuum line not hooked up. Well, not something, but I still know that I'm getting fuel by carb. But this is most definitely a vacuum line, and it is not hooked up, and I don't know where it goes on a Honda Rebel. Is there a vacuum port on this side of the carburetor? I've got a choke cable in there I'm going to have to most definitely address to get that out. Most definitely. And that goes up underneath in the gas tank and up here into the throttle housing. Well, ain't you just a little devil? Wonder if I can disconnect you without actually. Well, I'll be, you are tied into here. Let me see something. Let's plug this. We should have gas in the motor still. No. This bike would have run like poo anyway, dude. I'm not sure where this vacuum line goes. Come here, come here, come here. Let me show you something. Pardon me. Look at this here tangled mess of back lines. Okay. Listen, you take something apart. All these lines and shit, they all do something. So you shouldn't have one just laying loose. And see what we got here? Looky. This is going up into here, right? But it's teed off right here. Okay. And this is going here to the diaphragm. Top of the carb. This is a vacuum port. This is wide open, and this shouldn't be. This should, at very bare bones minimum, be plugged, but it should also be hooked onto something. Now, we don't exactly know what it should be hooked onto, but we're going to find out kind of shortly here. And I don't think that's the issue of why she's not running, because we are most definitely getting fuel here, and we're putting fuel into the float bowl. You know, trying to avoid doing as much work as possible on this. If I can see something simple and stupid on here that's causing her not to run right, that's what I'd much rather attack first. You know what I'm saying, guys and gals? Where does that go? This here. That is most definitely an overflow. Why does it have so many T's on it? That's kind of like a little insane. And that's teed in with this over here. Now that is interesting. Why did we do that? That's tied off to there. That's tied off to there. Why did we do that? This should not be dumping. This should be plugged. Bare bones minimum, it should be plugged. And I'm looking over here, and I do not see anything that indicates where this line should be hooked up. Number 2, I see we've got a pilot screw right there for the idle. I'm looking at that closely. We've got a tab here that should hold this back line. I see what we got here. And we're going to have to pull this other side cover off maybe to get a better look at what's going on here. I think maybe might make our life a little easier. All right, let's get you over here. Get you a little look-see. That one vacuum line, Honda doesn't do stuff like that. They don't just leave a vacuum line out in the open in the air. It's one of the most engineering marvels of the world is Honda motorcycles, and they don't do stuff like that. They don't just have a vacuum line out to open air. That's not something Honda does. That's something somebody did. In other words, whomever was in there fooling with the carburetor did not connect that vacuum line wherever it's supposed to go. We got to figure that out and put her back. This bike actually has an accelerator pump. I wouldn't expect to see that on an engine this small. Right there is your accelerator pump. Normally, these small little devils like this will just, they'll run a little higher idle and wouldn't be an accelerator pump, but it's kind of cool to see. Screwed from there. Any other screws? No, it should just pop off. I think this is a battery side cover here. Yeah, it is. I just want it off so I get a little better view of what's going on in there. We're missing a bolt here, ain't we? We sure are. It goes down to there. Right there, it's your vacuum control for a lot of things. Crankcase vent. Okay, so the other back line might just go up into the airbox, and I think that's what's up. Really do. All right, so we got no screws holding that. Well, we got to bust out the metric tools for this. Causing. We're going to put some slack in these cables so we can unhook the throttle cables. And it looks like a 10 and a 12 maybe. All right, so let's grab some metric wrenches. See what we got happening here. Grab a 10 and a 12. Get started. Yep, not a 12. 10 and a 10. 10 and a 10. Okay, so we need another 10 millimeter. Imagine that. A guy that has, well, I think I may have spoke too soon. Don't tell me I only got one 10 mil. I know I have more than one. Here we go. You guys see what I'm doing? Can we get you in a little closer, maybe? Ah! Can't receive text at the moment there, Joe. I'll check it when we're done being live. I imagine Joe's got something he's working at, trying to fix. All right, so what's going to happen here is we have to loosen these up. We have to put some slack in these cables so that we can get them out of here. That's step number one in taking this carb off. And if you're just tuning in, we have to take carb off because we have verified that we have gas to the carb, but it ain't going from the carb to the bike because it runs. So we have spark, we have compression, we have timing because it revs up, runs fine on ether. But once the ether dies out, she don't run. Okay. out of there. And this here was ready to fall apart. Gonna take your time, make it a little tighter, guys. This stuff ain't no good. Okay. Drop the wrenches on the floor. That's important to do. You want to do that. Yeah. Enough slack to get that. Really try not to grab the cable with anything but your fingers, if you can. Because as you see, they're small cables. They're somewhat delicate, and you can booger them up a little bit if you grab them real hard with vice grips. So if you can, on these little ones, you really want to use, and not vice grips, excuse me, with needle nose. Now, mental note, that cable got to feed through here. Okay, well, that's out of the way. It looks like there is no band clamp here, and there should be a band clamp. We'll put a hose clamp or whatever I have that'll fit here. So next thing is, I do believe these are 10s. We're not taking the intake. We're just taking a carbon. Oh, that's lovely. This housing here is directly in the way of removing that bolt. That's great. Okay, and those screws look like shit. Will they come out? Oh, yes, we already wallowed that one out a little because we used a standard Phillips head instead of a JIS screw. Damn it, people. All right, well. Let's move around to the other side of the bike, and we'll just be super, super careful, and we'll do one open-end wrench. Don't show the... no, I won't. I take it you bought something you weren't supposed to buy, Joe. Got yourself a new project that nobody knows about. So it sounds like. That's one thing us old gray bearded bikers are really good at. We're good at keeping secrets when one of our buddies buys a new toy, machine, bike, car, hot rod, and doesn't want his wife to find out. Yep. I got you. Yeah, no, does Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports already spent enough money redoing the entire upstairs bathroom? That's why we're down here on a Sunday, making extra money and between YouTube and working on an old bike here. Get you guys over here. Oh, shit. Get you guys over here, and you watch me freaking struggle with these carbs from this side. I do need to get a cigarette lit, though. Hopefully I don't burn us down, but it is what it is. This is going to be an aggravating, stressful thing, trying to get this carburetor out of here, but we're going to do it. Because I really do not want to try to take out the screw that somebody has already halfway stripped. I would much rather attempt to get those two bolts from this side. I feel like it'll be much easier in the long run. To go that route with it. I could 100% put this bike on a lift, but I don't like lifting bikes up from the exhaust like that. It ain't good for it. But it would make my life a little easier to have this thing another foot off the ground. It'd be up in my teeth a little better. All right, I gotta drop you guys down even lower so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see in there. This side should be, let's get this just shoved over here and out of the way for now. This side should be somewhat easy to get to. Okay, should be a 10. It is. The other side's a mother to get from this side too, huh? It sure is. Oh, we're gonna need a little magnetic tray to put these bolts into. Let's make that happen real quick. Tiny little bevel in it. Okay, there's one, easy enough. The other one is behind the choke cable. I absolutely cannot reach it from this side. Nope, I'm not going to be able to get a wrench in there, which means we're going to have to try to get them screws out of the other side. That's what I was worried about. All right, no biggie, we can do that. Just move over here again. Cripe, it'd be about easier to take the dang intake off. Take carb with the intake. It's not the way I want to do it, though. It's really not. I can get to the intake bolts super easy. I don't want to mess with them intake seals, though. This bike's 23 years old, and we're gonna go out on a limb here and say that them intake seals are 23 years old because it's an old Honda and doesn't have a lot of miles. I highly doubt the intakes ever came off, so we don't want to take it off. Something very important you guys need to know about here. That is, when you mess with a Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and for that matter, any of your Chinese brand, like Amazon motorcycles, okay? Phillips head screws are not Phillips head screws. They are JIS, Japanese Industrial Screw, okay? So if you put a Phillips head into any one of these, you're going to round the crap out of it. Please don't do that. These are very cheap on Amazon, these bits. You don't have to spend a lot of money on full screwdrivers. They will fit any standard screwdriver like that. You're going to need one of these. Kind of massage these out of the way a little bit. Oh, please come out. Please don't strip. And there's a lot of playing out. I don't like that. Okay, good. The screw's a little bit boogered up, but whoever messed with it did not over tighten it. Thank you, baby Jesus. You made my life a little easier. And you'll see in just a second why this has to come off. And I should have trimmed my fingernails this morning. You guys got a close-up view of my hand, and I've grown claws. I'm like a freak of nature, dude. My hair grows super fast, and so does my fingernails. I just cut them like 5 days ago. Okay. Now we can much easier get to that little 10 millimeter to pull the carburetor off. Oh, that don't feel good. It's turning now. Another little thing. A lot of people don't know this. It's a stupid little thing that'll help you. The angle that's on, when you turn the nut like a quarter turn, flip that over. Okay. Flip it as you go. It'll be easier to reach your next point of where you're going to grab it. This is why I like Craftsman wrenches have that little raised up thing here that says Craftsman. I do not like those because it buggers up your fingers. Snap-on, Blue Point, and even these Pittsburgh cheapo wrenches are smooth, which makes your life easier when you do this maneuver here. So someone who turns a lot of wrenches and does this for a living, they spend good money on a wrench, and folks that, just as a hobby or keep some tools around, they don't understand why. That's one reason why I like a nice smooth chrome wrench, because you're going to do that with it all day as you're turning a bolt to make your life easier. I really hope I don't have to take the airbox out of here. And I feel like I might have to take the airbox out of here, because that is going to require removing the seat. Can I? Nope. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this boot out of the airbox back here. I'm going to have to remove the airbox from the bike. Dang it. Maybe it'll slip back off the carb just enough, because it is rubber. It's almost wants to go. Only has to go a little bit. You think we can maybe get a flathead in there and gently pry it? Push it back like this and get that boot to work with us. It doesn't want to. Man, really don't want to pull this airbox. It's going to involve more time. I don't really want to put much pressure on here because it does have to seal. I don't want to score it. Yeah. Oh, that's a bugger. Can we just pry this off maybe? That would make our life so much easier to get this completely off. And out of the way. Dang it, it needs to go another 1/4 inch. And it just isn't going to do it. So we have to remove the flipping airbox. All right. Well, we have to do that. Hopefully we don't have to take the whole seat. I put those hose clamps inside the metal tray yesterday, so you won't. Oh, right. Cool. I'll find them. Appreciate you there, Charlie. Over this side. Hey, 15 of you. Cool. What's got to happen to get the airbox out? Really didn't want to take the seat off either. Really didn't want to have to do that. But I believe we are going to, because that is most definitely bolted down, probably back here somewhere. All right, this 2 Phillips head holds the seat on the back. Actually, Japanese Industrial, not Phillips. So let's get this stuff out. Let's get the seat off the machine. Those are fat screws on that. We're going to try this one right here. Come on, give it up. Okay, cool. They were not over tightened. That's good. This little engine doesn't vibrate much. You don't have to tighten everything on it. Especially Phillips head, they only got to be snug. Okay, there's two little bolts there. They got to come out. Slide this forward. Take the pillion pad off. And then we got here what looks to be maybe a 14. Set the pillion pad off to the side. I think we're going to use a socket on you. And you're either a 12 or a 14, I think. Let's try 12 first. You're 12. We can live with that. Extension. Ratchet. That's one of these situations where a wobble extension works great, because the way this bracket is bent, a regular extension would actually hit the bracket and make your life miserable. Off with the seat. Yeah, there's a couple bolts that hold that on, and they look like they're probably 12s as well. Yep, that appears to be the only thing holding the airbox on here. Okay, can you guys see what I'm doing here? Can you see? These two go down into the airbox. We're going to have to pull the whole airbox off and slide it back slightly to get the carburetor out of the machine. They're not. They are 10s. And yeah. Put our tray back here. Oh geez, those were really loose. They weren't even snug. That's not so good there, guys. Should be a little tighter than that. We have anything else bolting it in solid? I don't think we do. Oh, we have bolts from the other side. Looks like maybe one right here on the other side, which would be behind the battery. Great. All right, back over here, which would be why there was one bolt missing from the battery box, because looks like when we put it back together. We just didn't put it in. That's what it looks like. So that's probably what it is. Yeah, does that? No. Oh boy, oh boy. I got maybe right. Can I seen it. Can I get it without removing this? That's what I want to know. No. Yep, it's right there. I most definitely have to at least move the battery box temporarily out of the way to get to it. Come on, Honda. You're friggin' killing me. Yep, that's the last one, and the battery box is in the god dang way. All right. Should we remove the battery from the battery box? We should, because it's like heavy, and part of me wants to just safety wire it to something over here and let it hang and do it quickly, because I have some safety wire handy. And that's not the right way to do it. The right way would be to actually remove the battery. Which means this here gonna come out. We're gonna shortcut this. I think we need to shortcut this and just make it happen. So let's do this. And, oh man, nope. Nope, we don't want to do that. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is a pain in my ass. This right here is the beauty of a wobbler extension. Not quite a swivel, just a wobble like that. Makes life a lot easier. Nope, it's never that easy, bud. Never that easy. That is going to be a nightmare to get that bolt started again, isn't it? I feel like it is. I feel like there will be some curse words. It goes there, which means this should now be loose enough to pop up and off. Up here. And no, that's not going to. No, that's not going to make life easier either. This, yeah, that's halfway there. So I guess we made them nice and tight like they're supposed to be. And place the screw and washer back into this hole, which that's a good bit there corroded, fellas. Before we put this back together, it's not that bad. I've seen 100 times worse, but before we put this back together, we're gonna run up to the house and grab a little baking soda and water solution, and we're gonna spritz this down with some of it and kind of clean some of the corrosion off of this battery, because it needs it. And like I've said about 10 times today, I've seen worse. But we're in here, so do it right. We want this machine to be reliable for the person that's going to be riding it. Okay, now that's out of the way. Looks like we can just grab that with pliers and snap that off. Flip this over. And I thought I could shortcut it by loosening the bracket here, but that's definitely not how that works. Okay, let's try with these. Maybe these will do it. Nope. Oh, you're gonna fight with me. What about my fatter pair of needle nose? Will that maybe, will that be enough to, almost enough. There we go. There we go. Pull that up out of there. Ooh. She was dripping on you. That ain't good. All right, let me go. Let me find something to put this. Actually, no, right there on that piece of plastic, because that will not booger up my plastic. All right. We have a bolt down there. No, we have these two to get to, and that is it. And that one's going to suck to get to with the ratchet, but such is life. Am I going to be able to? I'm not even going to be able to get that with a ratchet, am I? This should just pull off, because these are just like a rubber clippy doohickey. Should be able to just work this off like that and out of the way a little. There we go. That'll be just enough to well, that ain't good, is it? Yep, we are gonna need a 10 point on that. I have one here. Man, that sucks. This is the deal when you work on motorcycles that somebody else has already worked on. You're going to deal with this stuff. Not a 10 point, a 6 point. One of these. Okay. Let's not bust our knuckles. We don't want to bust knuckles on this, do we? Where's my rubber persuader? This is the Tony Harding 200. Make sure that's on there tight. Okay. Nope. That sucks. Somebody has got that rounded. And that is going to make my life a pain in the ass. Please, guys, use good tools when you work on your bikes. Don't slip off bolts. Don't round bolts. Because, like, little stuff like this will turn this into me fixing this for peanuts to me adding, $100 or more to your labor price, because I had to now spend 3 hours to get something apart. It should have come apart in 2 seconds because you've rounded a bolt. Don't do this shit to people, guys. Please don't. Please don't do this shit to people. Would that be why we took this bolt out here and didn't finish removing the air cleaner? And that'd be why we had such a hard time with carb. Yeah, that looks like it. All right, can we work around that? Because I'm not fighting with somebody else's problems. I'm not. They're not my problems. If I can work that carburetor out of there in a different fashion, maybe if I just manhandle it, Almost, huh? All right, that looks a little more like it might want to work in our favor, huh? A little more, better. Come on, man, a little more. Dang it, the accelerator pump's gonna hit this bracket. That bracket has to come off. I'm not fighting with a screw that somebody else stripped. I'm just not. We're not in the mood for that today. Yep. That sucks. Accelerator pump hits this. Oh my God. Really, guys? Don't fucking strip screws when you work on things. Don't do it to someone. Don't round bolts. Take your time and do the shit right. Because then someone else has to come in there and fix what you fixed. Oh my God, that don't need to be that tight. Who did this? How can we work around this problem? Because we have got to work around this problem. I'm not competing on spending 3 hours extracting a friggin' 10mm bolt that somebody has rounded over. Mike, I will take the intake off of this before I do that. It's only going to be let's go around to this side and take a look. Up from the inside, can I draw this intake in by mashing it like that? If I can get this intake boot out of the way, like that would really move us very far along in this. If this was out of the way, all the way, it sure would. That'd be nice to see. I don't think that's going to work like that, though. Man, I tell you, if I only had some kind of, let this come out. I'll pull this out of the way. Can I actually reach? No. Thought that'd give me a better view than it won't. Much time as I'm fighting to get around this, I should have just got an easy out and extracted that bolt, put a new one in, but I really don't want to get into that today. I'm not in the mood for that. That's not a Sunday thing for me. It's not a fun day thing, you know? We're not that. We're going to just fight this boot out of here the hard way, like this. Damn you, son of a bitch. Ah! I win. All because we stripped the bolt. I can't reiterate this enough, folks. Please use quality tools. Please take your time. I don't care if it takes you 2 hours to get that one piece out. I would rather see you take all day to get one little piece off, and see you be in a hurry and round the head off a bolt and leave it for somebody else. I work on a lot of these older bikes, and I run into this a lot. And honestly, sometimes I will work around the problem like I'm doing today before I attempt to fix that problem. From this side so I can see. Oh, come on, baby. Come on. Oh, man, this bracket just has to come off. There's just no flipping way around that. I think it just has to come off, dude. And that really sucks because someone has stripped this freaking bolt. Probably because we didn't take the time to take this out of the way and we put a socket on there. Yep. That's probably what it looks like, what we did. No. We got it slid free. All right. We're free of the stud. All right. So that little hiccup worked a little bit. We still got to get it past that stud and get the choke cable out of the carb. Can we do that from the other side? Okay. Victory. All right. We're going to have to pull the gas tank too. Yeah, it looks like it. Because this goddamn choke cable that goes up through the bars, it's so nifty that folks love. But in order to actually do this, I'm not sure if I can get this choke cable disconnected from inside there. Yeah, let's take the time and let's do that. All right, let's open up this clamshell to get to the choke cable, which is going to be 2 JIS. All right, so yep, 2 JIS, and then we can pull the choke cable out. Oh. All right, bring it over here so you can see what I'm doing. How many in there? 70. No, it's not a Yamaha. Yeah, pretty much, Joe. No, this is a Honda Rebel 250. You guys may have to, we might have to take an intermission here because my breakfast and my coffee is talking to me. Might have to poop. If I got to poop, that means you guys got to get muted, and is what it is, because the bathroom here at Phoenix Motorsports is just a damn turlet sticking over by the wall. But I feel like we're getting to that point. Okay, I'll take you out. Put you over here. One more over here. Take you out. Take the clamshell out. And this is something here that, you know, when you try to do this quick and dirty, you end up running into more and more and more problems. And it kind of looks like that's maybe what somebody might have done with us here with this guy, I think. Okay. What we're going to need, that's probably a 12 wrench. Have to loosen that lock nut up. Yeah. Okay, what's up there? Lock nut's loose. You should open more than you are. Why are you kind of stuck? Are you kind of stuck, or is there a wire? Gently now. We don't want to break anything. Gently. Okay. There we go. All right. There's that little devil right there. And of course, we have that bar ends on this thing. Can we wiggle you out? Maybe like if we did that, no, that's not going to be very helpful for us to do it that way. We just gently wiggle you out like that. And then maybe if we can ever so gently ever so freaking gently with a pair of teeny needle nose. And at this point, you've got to be super careful. Because like I said, these cables are teeny, real easy to bung them up. All right, cool. So we got you here to this point. Unwind you like this. Cool. Wind it back up. There was just enough slack to do it. All right. And then this right here is the choke cable. We need a 10 and it looks like maybe a 14. Can I just fish the cable down through? You know what? If I do fish the cable down through, it is going to be such a mother to put it back. So I feel like it's going to be that much easier just to pull the tank on this daggone thing. Didn't want to mess with it, but I guess we gotta. Are you a 12? Nope, you're a 10. Okay. I just happen to have one at the ready. What are you back here? You look like you're maybe a 14 or bigger. Let's see. Yeah, 14. Nope. Can't be a freaking 12. You definitely look bigger than a 12. That's odd. To say the least, that is odd. whatever. 13 fits it, and that makes no sense. That's a 1/2-inch bolt on a metric bike. I have seen some things in my day, but I don't know, folks, what we did here. I don't know. And it looks like a factory bolt, which is even more interesting to me. No, it's metric. It's, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. There. Goodness gracious. Can we just turn this sideways and rest it here to, well, see, it's not going to want to do that for me, is it? That might hold it. All I need it out of the way for at the moment is so that I can get the choke cable out of the way, pulled through so I can completely remove the carb. And the choke cable is going up through this series of shite, which tells me sort of kind of that we never quite removed it to begin with, did we? All right, well, we're gonna somewhat take a shortcut. There's one big one big wire strap holding all of these wires in tight, and I have more of those. We're gonna cut that. I want the carburetor off with the choke cable on it. Get out of here, spider. Unless we unbolt this cap right here, maybe if we took this cap off, we could disconnect the choke cable, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, we could do that. Maybe we're going to do that. That might be a 14 though. As we spill, flammable gas all over the floor. I like that. Gotta get some oil dry in here. My cheap ass uses cardboard, and well, oil dry would be the proper way to handle that situation, but I don't do many things properly in my life. I do what I gotta do to get them done. Tell me we didn't Hercules this on here. We didn't. Good. Because this is just a little plastic fitting, and it does not need to be Herculean tight. Only snug. Cool. Choke cable out. She leaned right there. And here's the plunger for that. Man, it looks like shit down in there, dude. Dirty. Okay. thing for the choke cable. Let's get this all over here. Okay. Something like this. Okay. I have a place to work. This area policed up a little bit. Move some shite out of the way. Then I'll get you guys set up over here where you can see what I'm doing. GoPro shit everywhere. Cool. All right, there we go. All right, come on over here. Come check this out over here on the bench. As I fight with my phone stand. Sorry about that. Okay. Get you up in close so you can see what's going on. Cool. All right. Carburetor 101. First thing we're going to do, spread some more towels out. Rags, whatever you want to call these stinking things. Make some room. Okay, the reason I do this, not only to catch any fuel that might spill. Okay, when you drop something on this table, it's going to want to roll, right? And if you have like a rag or something down, okay, catch my drift, keeps it from moving. We are also going to grab ourselves a magnetic tray for screws and parts. We will need that. And we're going to take a brief intermission. Hang with me for 5 minutes. I need to use the bathroom. I'll leave my mic over here. folks, back at it. We are back at it. Some of you hung out. I appreciate you. Sorry about that. Human nature is what human nature is, and when nature calls, you got to answer it. Otherwise, well, it would be a pretty uncomfortable day. Nobody wants to go to need drawers, you know what I'm saying? Well, back to what we was doing. A little light on the subject so y'all can see better. Yeah, okay. Hey, what's up, folks? Anyways, diaphragm carburetor. Looks like poo, dude. It really does. Like, it's just some crudiness. See all that goo down in there? That's none of that. None of that is good. You hear that? Diaphragm doing diaphragm things. That's good. Okay, and we have bunged up a couple screws here. I see that, and well, I can live with that. So let's get no, this drain pan that's like flowing, you know, pieces of a burned up Sportster clutch. Let's get that over here for just a second. And this screw that is completely chewed and gnarled up, we got to take that out and drain the fuel down into this pan, just because I'm smelling enough gasoline to make me not want to smell gasoline anymore. So will that be too big? No, that's perfect. So let's go ahead and get this drained before we disassemble this. There you go. Open that. See that? You open that. And the gas that's in the bowl will drain right out. All right, so we know we were getting gas into the bowl. That's even more interesting. All right. There wasn't much in it, but we were getting gas into the bowl. So if you remember what I was saying about the needle seat maybe being gooned up a little bit, that very well may not have been our problem. Because if that was our problem, we would not have gotten gasoline into the bowl. Feel me? Stuff's not exactly rocket science, but you got to know a thing or two. I'm going to grab my JIS screws because, as we spoke of earlier in this live, these are not Phillips. These are Japanese industrial screws. There is a difference. I know it's difficult to see, but the angle on these, there is a little difference, and believe me, it makes a difference between you successfully getting a screw out without using an impact driver, or you doing something like that. That's not bad, but as you can see, it's a little bunged up, and that is 100% from using the wrong screw driver bit. We're going to go one size larger, I think. So number one, we're going to go with a JIS2 on that one because it's already slightly bunged up. And in my other lives, I showed you this on Harley Davidson. The Harley Davidson has this key, this K right here, this K. See how it says keying? Well, on the Harley Davidson version of this, you'll have the bar and shield logo up here, but you'll have this K for keying. Essentially, like, this is about the same carburetor, albeit a little smaller. Well, a good bit smaller. This is kind of the same carburetor that's on most of your Evolution Series Harley Davidsons. And I believe it even came on some of your twin cams, and it definitely came factory on all your Evolution era Sportsters, which would be from 1986 to 2006. There we go. That came out nice and easily. So, fun factoid that you Harley Davidson purists sometimes don't like to, and believe me, dude, I have 3 Harley Davidsons. I absolutely love Harley Davidson. They use Japanese cars. My bike has an S&S, and it didn't come with that from the factory, bud. What's the other hot rod carb for a Harley? Mick. Also a Japanese carburetor. So this right here would be your pilot screw. Before I continue disassembling this thing, I highly doubt that this is what's going on. But this should be set at about 1.5 turns out from stock. So let's see. Let's do this. Okay. We'll work on it right here. So we know it was pointed at, let's say, 1 o'clock. One, two, about 2.5. 1, 2, right there. One. Losing count, thinking too much. Don't count. 1, 2. Okay. That's a little excessive, but I wasn't told anything about the bike running funny at idle. Apparently it ran pretty good when it was running, and then it started acting funny for a fella. And doing exactly what it was doing. It's not getting fuel, so we know we are not getting fuel. We verified that because we sprayed ether in the air cleaner, starting fluid, and it ran just fine. Now, I want to point out here, this is the point where you got to be a little careful when you put these back together. Okay, you see right here, this little plunger goes down into here. Okay, and you got to be a little careful when you put these back together. It's real easy to put a hole on and have this little plunger kicked off to the side. So you want to note that that's there. And the plunger doesn't want to come out. That's interesting. Doesn't want to. Oh, okay. I see what Honda did here, or what Kian did here on the smaller one. I'm going to have to take this screw out. As you see, this is part of the bowl assembly here, and this is attached to all this gobbledygook here with this little arm. Hopefully that'll come out with just a screwdriver. There we go. Washer there. I'll put that washer on here so that we know where it goes. Wow, boy. There we go. Okay. Yeah, see that? That. Okay. Let's go here. Now, this is what I was thinking. Stop this carb. I think maybe I'm not right. I need to get my little mechanics pick out. And I need to slightly push this over. we're going to inspect the needle and seat. Pretty sure that's not going to be our problem because, as I said, we're getting fuel into the carburetor. And even if you have plugged it, once you start on ether and you hold the throttle wide open, the bike should still run. Doesn't quite make sense. It'd only run wide open, but it would run like poop, but it would still run. Okay, that was my first suspicion, and I was wrong. Okay. See, I was thinking whoever was in here, you see how this kind of, let me turn it this way so you can see it. You see how this kind of has a clip to it? This little guy rides that clip like that. Okay. I was thinking that maybe the person that fooled with carb is sitting on top of the clip, and that is not the case. So, man, my new glasses are so much better than my old ones. I'll get it up close, and you'll see there is no wear ridge on this needle. It is in very good condition. It's definitely not the problem. Let's go ahead and pull some jets and see what they look like. Are they clean? Are they free and clear? What's the deal? Yeah. Yep, right there. Plug it, primary jet. That's your problem. 99.9953246% sure that that's your problem. We have got a plug primary. Let's get us this wee little tiny piece of wire, which is probably still too big. Can we feed it through here? Yeah, see that? She's plugged solid. I don't know what's in there, but that's, you should be able to feed this wire all the way through, and you cannot. I could kind of barely blow air through it, but bad deal. Now, this bike came with, I guess the fella had ordered a carburetor rebuild kit, and it came with new jets. So let me get that over here. And let's go ahead and dig through it a little. No, that's definitely not in the right piece. Here we go. Here's the jets. Okay. Primary jet, which is kind of ran on the secondary. If you held the throttle wide open, it'll pull through the secondary. It didn't. So, okay. Oh man, I don't like this. No, you know what? I can see daylight through this. Got a little bit of schmutz out of it. And the part of this that I don't like is this is a factory key and jet, and this is from a rebuild kit. Okay. Get under the magnifier. This is a number 385 jet. Can you guys see that? 385. They look very similar. This jet here is not numbered. So technically, I don't know if they're the same size. But I'm going to tell you right now, I know you guys definitely ain't going to see it. But I can see when I hold it over top of something white, I could see white through it. This is not plugged. I thought it was here, or maybe I just blew a little chunk of crap out of it. This is not plugged. Before I reinstall, or before I install the new one, being as I don't know what size it is, I don't like that. Okay, because the bike was running good. So if this is a smaller primary, that's going to change the tune of the motorcycle. The motorcycle was running fine as it was before. I don't want to install this when I can see daylight through this. It was about blocked up, but I got it. I blew through it. We run that wire through it. Now you can clearly, we're okay. What we're going to do is just going to take a little of this. Okay. Take it off camera over here to my little pan on the floor. I'm going to hit it with that. Oh, that feels good in all the little cuts in my hand. I'm going to take it across the room, of course, off camera. And I'm going to blow air through it with my compressor. Just hit it with a quick little blast. Okay. It's definitely clear. Take a little piece of wire and verify. We don't have any plug passages there. Let's go ahead and return you to your home, because I'm pretty sure you're okay. Now you just gently, gently snug these up. See, I'm barely grasping that. That's all the more you want to do with them. And use a fatter screwdriver on the main. See, they're just gently, very gently. Now you see how this is fatter? Okay. This is your idle circuit. This is your primary. It's your idle circuit right here. Primary circuit, and this is your main. And you see that little right there? That's your needle. So idle, just off idle to about quarter throttle, above quarter throttle. Okay, that's when this kicks in. Yeah, I can see daylight through this one pretty good too. And it doesn't appear that this one is numbered either. Nope, it is. This is a 108 main jet. Yeah, I could see daylight through it pretty well. Get a little piece of wire and kind of probe it a little. She's completely clear. But for shits and giggles, let's go ahead and just throw a little carb cleaner at it and blow it out with compressed air just to say we did it. Let's go ahead and replace you. The gasket doesn't look bad here. Yeah, I'm really getting to wonder. What's making you tick and what's making you be a booger? Because everything I see looks okay. It really does. On the bottom half of this carburetor, it should have been running just fine. So this is getting more interesting as we go. I see this is, yeah, see this is an issue right here. Yeah, that screw's loose. That's no good. This needs to seal. But I don't think that caused our issue either, because the motorcycle would fire up and idle somewhat if that's not sealed. See how nice and easy those come apart if you have the proper screwdriver to do it. I mean, makes your life very, very easy when you have the proper tools. Okay, keep your hand on top of this as you're taking your last screw out, because there's a spring in here and sometimes it'll want to fly across the shop and you don't want that. Okay. This is the part that almost never comes with your rebuild kit, and this is your diaphragm, which basically, I'm going to pull this out. It should be soft to the touch, flexible, pliable like this. Okay, if it's stiff, it's not going to work. And visually inspect it. There are no tears. Everything's in good shape. Okay, now if you guys see the way this style carburetor works, all right, butterfly valve here. See, you open that up. My hand on the way so you'll see it. You open that up. This is on the engine side. You open that up. That allows the engine to suck on the carburetor. And when your slide would be down through here like this, your engine is pulling vacuum through, right? When you see this right here, okay, and if you look down inside there, that goes straight through into here, okay? Air's rushing in here, right? Some of it's getting scooped up here, and it's physically blowing that air up on here. And as it's blowing up on that, it's pushing this diaphragm. So it's pushing that up, and this is the carburetor slide that controls the air into the engine. So it's pushing that up through, opening this up. And this little needle here goes into the main jet. As you can see how the needle's tapered, as it comes out of the hole, it gets smaller and allows more and more fuel in. In other words, as the engine wind, more fuel as it goes. The engine, you change the size of this main, bigger or smaller, and on some of them, this is not one of them. As you can see, it's held in with a screw. On some of them, there is a little clip inside there where you can raise and lower that and allow this taper to open sooner or later. But everything I'm looking at so far, to me, looks okay, man. It really does. Like, a little bit baffled here. This bike should have been running just fine. Really should have. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of crud and a little bit of varnish in it. I mean, that's plain to see, but I don't see any indications that there are really any problems with the carburetor. Everything looks good. And I do have this Chinesium rebuild kit, and I don't want to use it. At least not all of it, because number one, your jet sizes here are not marked. And I just don't like that at all, that they are not marked. So I don't know what size jets they are. They could be wrong. So we're just not going to use that. See, I'm getting air even through the idle jet's still getting you air. Yeah, see. That's, I mean, you have a little bit of varnish down around the choke and a little bit of varnish here, but overall, this is not a bad looking carburetor. It should be functioning. It really should be. So I'm a little baffled here on that. All I can say is I will clean up the rest of it with a little carbine choke cleaner, and I got a little wire brush laying here somewhere. Maybe I could take some of that scunge off of her, and I don't see any problems with it. I don't know why she wasn't sending fuel, but she sure wasn't. Excuse me. Doesn't make sense. We are going to replace the float ball gasket because it's already in here, so why wouldn't we replace it? And take this over to here, over top this pan. Oh, I can't reiterate how good that feels to get carbon choke cleaner in those cuts in your hands. That is just the greatest feeling in the world, let me tell you. Damn it. We did a lot of fighting to get this carburetor out, and I'm kind of weirded out by this because, dude, I just don't see any problems with it. I don't see any reason whatsoever why it was deciding to not pull fuel. And my coffee maker's agreeing with me. There's no reason why this wasn't pulling fuel. Hear it? Like none, dude. No reason whatsoever. I'm a little buggered by that. The only thing I can say is that on the primary jet, when we first started messing with it, it was really, really difficult to get air through it. So it's quite possible that it was plugged and just barely plugged and we got her free. That is quite possible, but I'm going to be skeptic on that because I don't think that was the problem. And we do, we did have a little varnish in and around the choke, but it is now liquid. Carbon choke cleaners melted it pretty good. Maybe a little tiny piece of that varnish got down inside there, but I'm slightly skeptical on that too. I don't think that was like the major malfunction. So to get this cleared out a little better. See down inside there? Just a little bit. And this is the choke circuit. There's just a wee little bit of varnish down inside there. Actually, you know what? Let me grab a piece of paper towel. That's going to be better because this could leave like fibers and stuff like that we don't really want in there. I think we'd do better with some of this chintzy paper towel, also known as emergency toilet paper when I run out of the good stuff. Kind of twist it up. And the varnish that's in there is pretty soft now because we hit it with carbon choke cleaner, which dissolves it on contact. There we go. Yeah, that's nice and clean now. Okay, cool. We're dialed. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't see any other issues whatsoever. I mean, I just don't. So what we're going to do, I'll go ahead and wipe this off. Carbon choke cleaner, like these rubber diaphragms are very delicate. We kind of don't really want to get carbon choke cleaner on them. We kind of don't want non-ethanol gas touching it either. But where this is in the carburetor, this thing should feel nothing but clean air. Unless you're one of the dummies that thinks it's a good idea to run a CV carb with a velocity stack on your Sportster. Whatever, people do it. And they bitch to me when their bike doesn't run right. Okay. Get that in place now. It's kind of important to have this pretty clean. They got schmutz in there. That's got to go. You don't want that. Okay. So spray the carbon choke cleaner in all the cuts in your hands because it feels great. I'll take a little wire brush to her. Over here, you guys probably can't see what I'm doing. I'm just off camera. And we're just going to get that little bit of crap out of there. These systems absolutely work best when they're absolutely clean. Any kind of dirt, foo bars, the operation, dirt, little flecks of rust, stuff like that. Like, see, even here on the sealing surface, see how there's some corrosion on that. I don't like that. We're going to take a little piece of sanding paper, and thought I had one here. Or actually, do I have it over here? I do. A wee little bit of Scotch-Brite. That'll work just as good, and it won't introduce sand into this picture. I'll take it like this and just kind of up. Don't have to be perfect. Shouldn't be able to feel it with your fingernail, you know, especially around this ring right here. You can see where that diaphragm's been sealing. Especially around that, you don't want to feel any kind of anything. You shouldn't catch any of that with a nail. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, okay, can't catch any of that with a nail. Put a little magic juice on that. Wipe it off real quick. Wipe off in there. Okay. Now, when you put this back together, it's imperative, however you want to put it. That little rubber tab there has to go in that little slot. Nope. Yep. Nope, I got it backwards again. Should go this way. That matches up nicely. As you see, we're just finger tightening these by holding this. Now, you don't really want it a lot tighter than that. You also don't want it to come apart. So, listen, watch how I'm doing this. Just a couple fingers on the screwdriver. Snug. 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 Do not be a gorilla with this and then bring it to me and say, get it apart for me, because I'm going to laugh at you. And then I'll get it apart for you, but I'll probably make you give me some money or something. All right. Moving on to this side of things. The seal doesn't look bad, but since we got new ones, and I'm going to point something out. This is interesting. it gave you 2 float bowl seals. Yeah, Joe, carb cleaner does feel great in the eyes. They gave you 2 float bowl seals. Some of these Rebel 250s had 2 carbs, depending on what year you had. What's odd is they gave you 2 float bowl seals and 1 set of jets. I see, said the blind man. This one has an accelerator pump. And it has a little separate O-ring right here for it, okay? So, and this is for one without an accelerator pump. Simple, simple, simple. Makes sense. And I'm going to show you something once I get this gasket picked out of here. Okay. Now, you see over the years how that look on the edge there. You see how it's kind of flat? It's usable. It's still soft. You can feel it in your fingernails. It's still soft. But if you look at the edge of this one, it's more rounded. That's from over the years, just sitting. This has been smashed a little more flat. So you're going to get a better result with a new one. It wasn't leaking. It didn't need change, to be 100% honest with you. But since we had to fight so much to get the carburetor off of this thing, we would be absolutely stupid to not replace a gasket when we have it. Now, I have brought this up before to folks. I'm going to bring it up again. When you put these float bowl gaskets in here, a little bit of grease. Okay. Absolutely do not want to use silicone in these whatsoever. Do not silicone that gasket in, please. You just take a little bit of grease like that on your finger. You ain't really got to fill this trough with grease, but the next guy who gets into this carburetor is going to really appreciate you, especially if it's been 10, 15, 20, however many years, if you do this one little trick, and that is take just the tiniest bit of grease and don't really fill the trough with it, but you want a little grease in there because that will keep that gasket from sticking. And however many years from now, when you do go to take it back apart, it'll come right apart. The gasket will come right out, and you will not have to fight with it. Okay? That's all you got to do. It'll make your life easier down the road. Okay, no, we really don't want it in the float bowl, so let's go around with a rag, wipe the excess off. Like I said, it's on there for one reason, and that is to keep this rubber gasket from sticking later on down the road if you ever have to take it back apart and pull this gasket. As well as when you go to install this on the carburetor, your life is now going to be easier because that little bit of grease will hold that. As you see, it will not fall out. What am I? JJ. This is a Kean, I think it's a Kean 35 millimeter constant velocity. Yeah, it's a Kean 35 millimeter constant velocity carburetor off of a Honda, I want to say CMX 250, whatever they call it, Honda Rebel 250, single carb version. All right, where were we? Now, we verified that the old needle and seat was in good shape, but we've got a new one right here. Why wouldn't we use the new one, right? Wouldn't make sense to put an old one back in. So let's get it and verify that they are exactly the same. They are. Okay. Put the old one in here. I probably should test this, but I think it's good. Hear that? You don't hear any fuel sloshing around. All right. We had no fuel coming out of the overflow, so the floats were definitely good. These are non-adjustable, by the way. These are plastic. You cannot adjust these whatsoever. Do I even have a... Yeah, I got a bucket of water here. I'll show you how we test these. Let me fill a bucket with water. Real quick here. All right. Can you see down inside here? Come here. Come here. Get closer. Get right up against the screen so you can see it. God dang it. All right. Take your floats. Hold them underwater and watch. And there's some bubbles of air coming off my fingers, but that's off my fingers. That's not from the floats. Can you see down in there? So if water ain't going in here, gas ain't going to find its way in here, and they're not going to stick down. That is how you test a pair of floats. Do that with it. Then when you pull it out of the water, shake it. You'll hear that water in there. Since I dunked it in water and I'm putting it back in a carb, let's do my favorite thing in the world and spray this on the cuts in my hand. God damn it. Ow. Then it'll disperse the water. Wipe it back off. Kind of a bugger that the rebuild kit that came with this bike, it didn't come with new floats, I don't think. Oh, the box. No, yeah, no, it definitely didn't come with new floats. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with them. We just tested them. Important thing to note. See that little ridge clip thing? And there's a little pocket that goes in there. Some of these have a little tiny, teeny piece of wire sort of around the needle seat, and that will go in there, but it needs to be in that pocket. Set it in place like that. Come over here, get our pin, kind of get it started. And then we gotta work the floats in place to put the pin through. There we go. Okay. It's pretty obvious how that works. Okay. See how the floats are down when the gasoline fills up the bowl to a certain level. It's going to shove that little rubber needle up in there. That's going to close off and no more gas is going to go in the bowl. Now, we already verified that this works, but just to show you guys, maybe, do I even feel like showing you guys? You know it works. Basically this here, okay, you see them bubbles coming up? See that? That's a squirt. Okay, that tells you your accelerator pump works. I don't have to go any further than that. If you want to tear into it and check the diaphragm, you can. Real quick, easy way to do it, put some gasoline in your flow bowl or carbon choke cleaner and just shove down on a plunger. And trust me, it's either going to work, it's not going to work. This one works. We're fine. All right. That's good, dang. Thing goes over it like that. There's one thing I didn't check, and now it's going to bug me. I'll check it in just a second. We verified that we had gas coming out of the petcock. We verified that we had fuel in the float bowl. Because when we took it apart, there was fuel in it. When we drained it here, we got fuel to it. Verified that all the jets are open. That's vacuum. Yep. That passageway is clear. We're good. And the needle and seat are working great because I can't blow air through it when they're closed. That's cool. Is that a VM24 carburetor? No, it's a Kian VE35. Or in layman's terms, a friggin' 35 millimeter constant velocity carburetor. I am not a fan of constant velocity carburetors, but as you guys know, unless you're new to the channel, I'm a Harley Davidson guy, and Harley Davidson's run a little better on a S&S style carburetor or a Mikuni style. Okay. Now, this guy sat up. He went here. He wants to fight. You will lose. Come on, you double. Yep, I'll take the float bowl back off. It was my fault. This is now in the way, and I don't want to bend that. The float bowl has to drop down a little bit because remember I was just saying when I tore this apart, you got to be careful putting it back together because this is in the way. Well, yep, here we are. But maybe we can loosen the float bowl just a tick. Give it some wiggle room, and maybe that'll be enough to... You know what else I did? You guys didn't remind me. I didn't put the diaphragm spring back in. Now it's come back for it too. Yep, nope, we have to take this off. See, you guys let me make mistakes. Supposed to be screaming at me in the comments, dude, you didn't put a diaphragm spring back in. What are you, an idiot? Supposed to be screaming at me, and you're not. What are you doing? Honest with you folks, it is like 65, 70 degrees outside. Homeboy does really not want to be doing this at all. Like, I might be riding one of my bikes, or what I was supposed to be doing today, changing the oil and getting my electric glide ready to go so I can ride it. I fired it up for the season, but I got to change the oil, test a few things out. It's going to need a new battery, so I got to do that. The battery it's in, it starts it, but it's weak. It's time. Here in the garage, it stays on the battery tender, so it always starts and stuff, you know. And if I take it out and ride it somewhere, it'll fire back up. It's fine, but the battery is getting weak, and it's about 8 years old, so it's due for a new battery. Because if I decide to ride it to work and it sits for 12 hours and it's not on a battery tender, she just might not want to start up on me. And let me tell you how much I do not want to try to push start a 900-pound working on that damn little Sportster. And I really, really enjoy riding that bike. It's just a hoot. It's so much friggin' fun to ride, man. It really is. And yeah, I could be out riding that bike right now and enjoying it, but here we are. And this is just what we're doing today. Dang little bushings. Boy, that setup doesn't allow it to get very much of a squirt, does it? Look at that. You got a little limiting tab that hits right here. Of course, you don't need much on a 250, but look at that. That's all the more that accelerator pump's allowed to get with this setup. That sucks. You got a spring here that's only allowing it so much pressure. You can't tighten that up at all. Somebody's been in here at some point, because this is freaking safety wire or not. Well, I mean, it is just a little 250 parallel twin, but man, like, why have an accelerator pump on it if that's all you're going to allow the accelerator pump to do? You feel me? I don't know. I'm a performance guy. I like to see things that optimized to run their bestest, mostest, bestest. And I have to take this back off because you guys didn't yell at me in the comments and say, hey, asshole, you're messing up. Because what I've done was put the cap back onto the diaphragm here, and I did not replace the diaphragm spring. And I was looking down here at the workbench, and I saw, shit, it's a diaphragm spring, and it's not in the carburetor where it's supposed to be. Well, it is what it is, folks. I think we're going to go for maybe another hour at the most here, and then we're going to take a break for lunch. Yeah, see that? This guy here goes in here. And see, it's got to go, see inside there, it's got to go on that little raised up piece. Then you put the cover on. And like I before mentioned, don't kill these. No gorilla grip. Just snug them. What you gotta do? Snug them. Okay. That's it. Now, do we have a new one of these? And if you look on the edge of that, it's flattened just a little. But that will 100% work just fine. I promise you. But in our box of parts given with the bike, we might have a new one. And if we do have a new one, I'm going to use it, right? Right. And we don't have a new one. Bugger. We do not have a new one. Okay. Yeah. It's fine. We'll do the same trick. We'll take a little bit of regular old all-purpose grease. I am not going to fill the trough with it like I did last time. I'm just going to schmutz it on there like that. And lay the O-ring in. I'm just going to do two things. Number one, it's going to hold that O-ring in place when we go to put the carburetor back. And number two, next time you work on it, if you do want to replace this O-ring, it's not going to stick in there. It's going to come right back out. That has nothing to do with sealing whatsoever. Just to make your life easier further down the line. Okay. Leave the mic here for 1 second. I gotta go to the bathroom again. Hey, can you hear me? Well, according to this, it's working, so whatever. All right. I guess we're at the point now where we're going to fight the carburetor back onto the bike. Yay. Can't tell you how happy that makes me. Now, the problem with this is some boogered up some bolts. Yes, they did. And we can't get the airbox off the bike because somebody boogered up some bolts. So we had to fight this off the hard way. The real hard way. And it sucked. Still have that one vacuum line that has no, I guess it would have to go. It'd have to go on this, wouldn't it? Back hurts. I'm looking and I'm thinking. Looking and I'm thinking about a few different things that could cause this bike to be doing the stuff that it's doing that it just shouldn't be doing. Okay, number one, this gets plugged into a vacuum port onto the carburetor. This hose was just hanging out in the breeze. The other end goes into the tank. No sense whatsoever. Because you've now got a major vacuum leak right here. And why would we need vacuum into the tank, Honda? This is kind of why Harley Davidson guys generally just rip all that shit off their bike and throw an S&S carb on it, because it eliminates all this bullshit. Pollution's bullshit. This is an 03 carbureted bike. That's why all your new bikes are fuel injected. It is. It's not that they run any fucking better. They don't. Okay. Properly tuned carbureted bike will run every bit as good as a fuel injected bike. Maybe take a little longer to warm up. That's it. It's all about the emission system. We got a bypass diaphragm here. It plugs right into the air cleaner. Right? So that is going to be your crankcase pressure going into the air cleaner. PCB. And this, which was going to the vacuum line, which makes no flipping sense. This is 100% an overflow valve. I know what someone did. All right, I'm just looking at this and how everything goes here. One of these goes to vacuum. The other one's got to go to the overflow on the bike. That's the absolute only thing that would make sense to me. And this one, when I pulled it off, and the whole thing is right in line here. This one is directly right in line with, and you can see how it's a pre-bent hose. Here, let me get you where you can see. It's a pre-bent hose, and it's been hooked up here for a long time. Okay. It was right here. Okay, that's vacuum. This has to go right here to your overflow. But you see, you still are going to have it wide open here. Because you got this shite. Why, oh why, dear Honda, do you have this bullshit happening? Because absolutely none of it is necessary. It's not. Because this is not an overflow. This is a vacuum line system. Which tells me it's going to have to get hooked up onto the EGR valve somehow. Which tells me this bike's absolutely going to run 100 times better if I just plug all these lines and 86 this shit. Which might be what the person's problem was to begin with, but Honda put it on there for a reason. Honda doesn't do shit for no reason. I promise you. There has to be up underneath here that I can't get to because I can't get the goddamn air cleaner box off. Somebody's done me the favor of stripping a screw in it. There has to be another place to hook these lines to. And I know if I could get the air cleaner box off of it, I would 100% see exactly where they have to go. Because functionally, there was absolutely nothing wrong with this carburetor. But the bike wouldn't run unless I shot ether through it. It wouldn't pull fuel. Possibly because all your vacuum is getting lost right here. Maybe for shits and giggles, what we're going to do. Okay, the way this carburetor works, right here, fuel will come out of here, and it's only going to come out of here if it overrides the float height and that little brass piece in there. If it gets up to there, it's going to dribble out this hole. Honda had something in mind here with this vacuum port. This is where fuel enters the carburetor. This is just a vacuum port, okay? And when I took this machine apart, this vacuum port was hooked into this system of bullshit here, which makes zero friggin' sense. This I could see going down to here, okay? It's now going to put vacuum into the float bowl, which if it should overflow, then it would suck it through the system, and right? But this, there's no one-way valves in any of this. Nothing like that. So now you're allowing all your vacuum pressure to get lost right here. That's no good. I think what we need to do here, we need to make what my dad would call a rat rubber. It'd be a little piece of vacuum line like that. Just snip it and put a bolt in it. We need to plug this. We need to fire the bike up and see if it runs better. We'll be bypassing all this emissions bullshit. But I think that's what's wrong with it. I really do. I really do feel like there's something with these vacuum lines. They got to get hooked up some friggin' place. It's probably up underneath this airbox. It doesn't want to come off because somebody has rounded a bolt over. We don't really want to fight that bolt. I don't care. The airbox ain't coming off. That's how that works. We're going to work around it because I'm not charging these people too much to fix this bike. I just told him I'd get it running for him. You know. And if I have to come over here and fight the bolt out, that's going to take time and that's going to cost them money. Just let me maybe take it to the floor. Where's my trouble light? Take it to the floor right quick here. Look up underneath here with my eyeballers. See just what we got underneath here. Maybe I could see where those vacuum lines need to go from the underside, because they absolutely have to go somewhere. They're not just to be hanging out in the breeze. I promise you. I promise you they go somewhere. Those are vacuum lines. Those are not overflow lines. Where's that little shitting? That thing is right here. And the crankcase vent goes to it, which goes over here to a little drip doohicker. We have another little plug here. Oh, that shit. Let's get some light on the subject so I can see what's going on. Alright, there's that. Goes to an EGR valve. I can't see all the way up under the EGR valve though. And it doesn't appear to have a place for any of those lines. It doesn't appear to. Nope. Is that? Nope. I don't feel like it either. There's absolutely no way. And I know what that other one is. It's just an overflow. I really feel like if I block off that one vacuum tube, this machine should run 100 times better. I really feel like that is the entire flipping problem. I do. I just do, man. Because there's just no other explanation for that. Yep, that's plugged for a reason. And that would go down through here, through that. Yeah. Is that a... Okay. All right, so we're absolutely going to try that before we fight with getting the airbox off to get a better look at the crankcase pressure valve. We're essentially eliminating the emission system on this motorcycle because fuck California emissions. We don't need it. You feel me, folks? That's what we're doing, and I think that just might solve our major malfunction here, I think. Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do, I think. Yeah, if you're losing all your vacuum right there at the top of the carburetor. But my problem is, where did those other lines go? I can't see in the system where they would be plugged into without taking this whole flipping thing apart, and I don't want to. So I think we're just going to plug that vacuum line. We're going to put the bike back together. We're going to plug that one vacuum line off. Vacuum port, actually. The line isn't even on it. It's a port on the side of the carburetor. We're going to go ahead and plug that off. We're going to see if that solves our problem, because I feel like that's going to solve our problem. I really do. All right. Okay, we got to get the pieces out of this pan here for the choke. Actually, it's not a choke. It's called an enriching circuit. And you know what? This one looks like shit. I think we got a new one with the box of parts. And if we did, we're going to go ahead and use it. Yeah, we did. And it's definitely not the right one. Yeah, that's definitely not what came out of there. Okay, we're not using that. Ah, Carb Kit 05. Made in China. Carb Kit 05. Yeah, no. Not the right carb kit, but like I said, them jets look like they were different sizes too. They're not the right jets. The only thing we used from that whole ass carburetor kit was one gasket, and we didn't even really need it. No, two things. We used the gasket, and we used carburetor needle, the fuel needle. Where is the 14? And we'll need a 14 millimeter for this operation. Oh, I will watch it. Let me see what time it is. Getting about time for lunch, folks. I'm getting hungry. Oh, dude, it's 12:45. I'm past lunchtime. See where I'm at now? 2 o'clock's quitting time. 6 hours on Sundays, all you get out of me. Got some stuff I got to do. Well, I guess that also depends on Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports, to be honest with you. And what she wants to do this afternoon. I mean, it's kind of obvious. I want to take one of my bikes out for a ride. I don't want to work on bikes all day, and I'm not going to start working on my electric glide right now. Wait a minute now. I need to shut up and work. Talking too freaking much. Okay. This goes over here. Plugged up into here. This goes up into here. And that goes down in there like that. Ah, you bastard. Shove that in there. Get this started. You know, this is an awful lot of bullshit just to have your choke lever up on your handlebars instead of down on the carburetor. Honda does this shit. A lot of other Japanese bikes do it too. I absolutely hate it. Just give me a little choke knob right there to pull up on, you know, and make life easier for the mechanic. But we generally don't like to do that. We want it cool looking, you know, up on the handlebars. It's cool. All right. That's what we want to do. Well, that's not what I like to see, but that is what a lot of them tend to do. And it sucks. Because now I'm here fighting with this instead of installing it. And I can see that someone else has fought with it quite a bit because the threads are a little bunged up. Okay. That could just hang out there in the breeze. Let's go ahead and pull it back up through so it's not fighting with us when we reinstall this. scoop up a little more. There we go. Oh, God. Yep, you're really supposed to have the airbox off the bike when you do this, but we don't. And this is why we're fighting so bad. Those of you who've been watching already know. Those just tuning in, whoever worked on this before me did me the favor of tightening the shit out of something that only needed to be snug and rounding a bolt. Making it to where if I want the airbox off, I'm gonna have to get medieval on that, and we're not in that kind of mood today, so we're just kind of gonna wrestle and fight. We got the carburetor off this way. It'll go back on this way too. It's just gonna suck, you know. You did it once, you can do it again. There you go. No, that's not quite lined up correctly, is it? And that's the problem, is this freaking bracket right here hits on the accelerator pump. And that is why I had to fight so hard to get this apart, because that accelerator pump is just in the flipping way. And this, you know something? I think we can deal with you. Give that a custom bend. Maybe that's just enough clearance. That actually might have done what I needed it to do. That's funny. That's funny. Come on, you devil. You gotta go a little bit more. See right there? Accelerator pump hits that. God dang. Stupid stinking tab on that stupid flipping bracket. And it's just really making my life a pain in the butt. What do I have that I can persuade that to move with? Okay. I should have used these to get this bolt out, but I just don't. Nope, I didn't strip it. I ain't dealing with it. Not my problem. Not my pig, not my friggin' farm. I wonder, am I going to be able to clamp on that enough to... Nope, I'm not going to be able to clamp on that enough to make it do what I want it to do. Oh, you devil. If Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports didn't have my small hammer in the house, if she wanted to hang a picture, I would have it down here. Because I kind of need my small hammer for this, and I've now got a throttle cable stuck in a place where it shouldn't be. There we go. Dude, I'm seriously ready to cut this little tab right off of there. I've got the stuff to do it. You can disappear, little tab, and then you won't fight me. There you go. There you go. See, I threatened to cut that off, and all of a sudden it started working. See how that works sometimes? Don't take no shit from these things. Okay. Seal is still in there where it's supposed to be. And there should be, in this little tray here, a flange nut. 2 flange nuts, and they should be 10 millimeter. And here's that's the crappy 10 millimeter. Where's the good one? Here's the good, no, that's a 12. Let's just get it started. that one started. Where's the other 10 mil? No, it's all the way back here. Yes, sirree. We're about to find out, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on ahead, before I put this bike all the way back together, I'm going to go on ahead and plug that vacuum line off with something. Make a little hose plug. Now I'm going to put fuel to the carburetor. And I'm going to see how she runs. Because I honestly do think, we're either missing some parts here for the stock emissions system for this bike. We're either missing parts for that, or God only knows where those lines are supposed to be connected. I do not have a manual for this bike. I could go upstairs, get on my computer, and look it all up. Find out where all those vac lines are supposed to go. Or I could just plug up that main vac line that I think is the problem, and try to fire it up. And the California emissions on this bike will be disconnected at that point. But we're in Pennsylvania. We don't need all that horse shit on our motorcycle. We're not flaming freaking save the world tree hugging hippies. We're Harley Davidson riding madmen. That's what we are, bitch. We don't need no emissions here in Pennsylvania. You kiss my hairy white ass. Yeah, actually, we do need emissions on our cars, but they kind of let it slide on the motorcycles. You do not need emissions. You don't need none of that shit. Which is a good thing, too. Now, my white Harley Davidson, it's had an heavy-duty oil pump put in, high-volume oil pump, and cam chain tensioners have been changed out to hydraulic heavy-duty ones, just for reliability of the engine. Other than that, it's all stock. So yeah, it's got the emissions bullshit, but it is a non-California compliant bike. My Super Glide and my Sportster are absolutely not California compliant. I ripped all that horse shit off of my Sportster. Plugged all the vacuum lines. Put a wide open air cleaner on her. Stage 1 kit, rejetted the carb, and she screams now. For an 883. They don't really scream, they just kind of holler. You know, you're not going to get an 883 to scream, but, you know, they holler. Okay. I'm going to get the throttle cables hooked up right, but I'm going to have to put the gas tank the way she's got to go first. Because throttle cables and all that shit runs underneath the gas tank. So does the choke cable. So we're going to have to put all that stuff together before we plug up that other vacuum line. Before we try to start the bike and see what it's doing. And honestly, I'm going to run it without the air cleaner. It's a bitch to get that air cleaner boot in there. You honestly should have this taken off to do it. But once again, someone did me the favor of that. And I'm not in the mood to mess with that today, so we're not gonna. Let's get on over here to this side, right? Oh, guys, you would have gave me the bike with a friggin' full tank of gas, too. Great. Makes life easier, huh? No, it doesn't. Okay. Come on, it's not where you go. And you know it. You go up through here. I said you go up through here. Like that. And you go up here, and you know it. That's where you go. Okay? That's where you go. Care what you want to do, you're going to do what I tell you. Hear me? Why is this side not even? Oh, it's close. Yeah, it's close, isn't it? Them cables were in the way. Hey, that's about probably close enough to see if we're running right now. Yeah, we don't have to have the fuel tank bolted onto her to fire it up. Good deal. All right, well, come on over here again. Hey, oh, wow, there's 10 of you. Right on. All right, you got to put the throttle cables back where they belong. Can you see like what I'm doing? Try to get you guys a good view of what I'm doing, but it's difficult because the freaking phone stand gets in my way. Got this guy here, and there were two. No, that's a seat screw. That's 100% seat screw. Now they were these ones. It was a longer one and a shorter one. Yeah, that's definitely the one. Definitely went like that. I don't remember that being that goddamn long though. I guess it must have been, but damn it. It seems awfully long for what the hell that thing's doing. Screwdrivers over here. Next on the agenda at Phoenix Motorsports, we need a flipping mother effing bike lift, and we need it now. I'm old, I'm fat, my back is shot, and it hurts to hunch over and do this. So I have this little rolly stool that I use. It makes my life a little easier, but dude, a bike lift would just be perfect. No, this ain't the right screw for that. This is for the throttle. That's right. Or not the throttle, but the what you call it. That's definitely not it. What are these? Were you these? I don't think you are. Were you these? You are not. You are boned up. Where's your brother? Oh man, I almost don't want to reuse that. That looks terrible. That's what came out of here, though. That's what happens when folks monkey with these things and tear shit up by using the wrong screwdriver bits. And that's exactly what's happened here. Instead of using a JIS, we used a Phillips head, it looks like, and we've torn up that screw quite a bit. And that's kind of really crappy, but pardon me, I have farted. Are we missing? We're missing a screw here. Because that was the seat screw. That was for that, and that was for that. That's a battery terminal screw. Yeah, we're missing screws out of this little magnetic tin. How can we be? That don't make no freaking sense. Might have to dig through my pile here. I don't want to. Might have to. Need another screw for that. Little metric. Unless it's laying here. You guys watching at home, tell me where I dropped that other screw, why don't you? It's absolutely not in the tray. Missing two of them. I'm missing a battery screw, and I'm missing another one that goes in the carb. Supposed to be yelling at me, telling me where they're at. All right, dig through the can, see what we got. I don't have a lot of metric stuff anymore. And that's all it's going to be. Yeah, that's all standard. I don't have very much in the way of metric screws anymore laying around. I just don't. My personal stash got given away in a bike giveaway. Dude, that really bites. How in the... This is a magnetic tray, dude. Screws should not have fell out of there. They absolutely did, though, didn't they? No, this has to be it because I put the battery screws back in the battery. That's what you did, you dummy. This screw in the battery did not come from the battery. You big dummy. This screw that's in the battery came from out of the carburetor. That is what you did. That's easy to fix. Took a second of thinking about it. Yeah, this one is the same thread. That ain't where it goes. That goes in there. That's why I preach to y'all. Get you some of them magnetic trays. They help. Yeah, see, that's for the battery. This goes into the carb. And all this does is hold your throttle cables so that they do throttle cable things. Okay, which one's pushing? Which one's pulling? Okay, that's the pull. And she goes this way. So the pull goes here, the push goes here. And this son of a basket has to kind of feed sideways through here. Like that. In there. Like that. And then in there like that. And this one, can you see what I'm doing? Probably not, huh? This one, we're gonna feed under and very gently pull that under like that. And that goes in like that. You bastard, you. See, they didn't really have that clipped in very good to begin with. And that's not ideal, so we're gonna fix that problem right now. You want these to be tight in here, okay? These were just laying in here. Like somebody messed with this, took it apart, did whatever they did, and kind of put it back together, but not all the way. So we're gonna set the record straight on that. Okay, 10 and a 10. And see, well, I was talking before about the smooth wrench, because you flip it as you use it, you know, to get a better angle, better bite. And this is why I don't like the Craftsman's to have that little on it right there. And it just, I don't know, whatever. It's just not, to me, like not as comfortable in your hand to work with, I feel. And of course, that'll be the issue on that one. Actually, no, I want that down in there more because it just works better that way. snug. You don't have to kill those. They just got to be snug. Neighbors' dogs out there yapping and barking. They have these two little yappy sons of bitches. Cute. I think they're Yorkies or something. They are cute little things. Kind of look like an Ewok, you know, from Star Wars back in the day. They're the yappiest little sons of bitches. And man, they do not play. Like when my pit bull's outside, they lose their fucking shit. Like they're not happy about seeing my dog. That screw rolled way over there between the blue bucket and the gas can. Does anybody in here have an opinion about a 2013 Kawasaki 2013 Kawasaki Virago? Really, dude? Really? Cute. And no, the screw didn't. This dumbass just put it back in the wrong place. Yamaha stopped making, well, you know what? Actually, no. I don't know what year they stopped making the Virago and started calling it whatever it is they call it. Kawasaki didn't make the Virago. They made the Vulcan. Yamaha made the Virago. I don't know, dude. I stopped paying attention in like the mid 2000s. I was never really interested in that bike. The 1100s from the 80s and the 90s, Yamaha Virago, they were kind of a cool bike. I don't like the first generation Viragos. They didn't quite look like a cruiser just yet. Yeah, they didn't quite look like a cruiser just yet at that point on the first generation, but the second gen Virago 1100s was kind of a cool bike. It really was. I mean, single crank pin, 9-degree V twin. Looked a little bit funky because you didn't have the down tube in the frame in the front. Man, they sounded cool. They ran good. We're not like, you're not going to win a drag race with an actual bike that's fast, but for what they were, they got you down the road good, and they were super, super, super comfortable. In 2003, maybe, I had a chance to buy maybe a 96 Virago 1100. I don't know this to be true at this point because I never got that into them to really care, but supposedly the old ones, when they first fired up, they sounded like they had a rod knock. It's just something they did, right? That's what the dude trying to sell the bike to me told me. Bike ran great, made oil pressure, everything else, but when you fired it up, the initial first clunk when it started, it didn't sound right to me, so I didn't buy it. And it was either going to be that bike or a 1993 Kawasaki Vulcan 750. Okay, battery's hooked up. I went with the Vulcan 750 because it fired up and ran good. I test ride and all that happiness, and it did what it was supposed to do, and it didn't do nothing it wasn't supposed to do. And I beat the devil out of that bike for a very long time. I had that bike for many years. And it used to do one goofy thing. And it had a vacuum petcock and the little seal in the back, the diaphragm in the petcock where the vacuum line went through. That would always get bunged up from the ethanol gas that they were coming out with at that time. And they used to have to carry those little seals with me because I'd be riding down the road and it would go out for no reason. And then the bike would run like shit because it was not getting the proper amount of gas. All right, so we're going to use this piece of hose to bypass this whole bullshit emission system. We're going to hook the fuel line back up. We're going to fire the bike up and see what it does. It doesn't have the air cleaner on it, so it's probably not going to rev up and run right because the CV carburetors absolutely, to function properly, they do need a little resistance on the hind end. They do need an air cleaner. So, what was you saying there? I don't know much about them either. I just found one for pretty cheap. Under 700 miles. Dude. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. 6 foot and 230 pounds. I mean, it'll do the job. It'll run you around. We're talking about a Yamaha Virago, right? Because a Kawasaki Vulcan 500 absolutely will do the job with you. Absolutely. It's a total different engine. It's not a V-twin. It's a parallel twin. And it's kind of a jumped up little son of a gun. Yeah, the Vulcan 500 punches way above its weight limit. Or way above its, yeah. You know what I'm saying? They run good, really good. Older gentleman around here, used to see him out and about all the time. I don't know if his health is failing or what. I don't see him around too much anymore, but he's damn near my size, and he rides one of them. And by golly, it gets him up to speed and gets him down the road pretty good. Okay, so here's what we're doing. It's got a little piece of hose, okay? We got a little bolt. And we're doing a little makeshift plug. Okay, we're going to plug off that vacuum port in the carburetor. And we're going to put fuel to the carburetor. And we are going to go ahead and fire the bike up and see what she does. This is just experimental. Because they had a vacuum hose. They had this whole system hooked up right here. Okay, and if you look at this whole system, this is all just a bunch of T's and lines, and it's all open. So you're allowing a shit ton of fresh air to come in here, and that's not what that's for. I don't know where the rest of the emission system is, the charcoal catch can, all that horse shit. I'm not tearing this bike all the way down and fighting with that other screw in that to try to find it either. I don't care. I'm going to put fuel to it right now. Give it a couple seconds, let the float bowl fill up. I'm going to turn the key and see what it does. Yeah, it was a Yamaha Vulcan 750 that fell through. Oh, Virago looks new. Fell through. I really liked it, but it was a neat. Yeah, dude, those bikes absolutely suck to work on too. They do. Mind you, I'm not really a big Kawasaki fan for that reason. They build excellent stuff, and dude, when it's running right, dude, Kawasaki are a very performance-oriented company. And when their stuff's running right, awesome. But when it decides to take a crap, like everything eventually does, and you got to figure it out and get it running again, you're going to hate your life. You just are. I'm going to take the time right now and put this choke cable back the way it's supposed to go. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm just going to work it by hand. See what we got here. Give it the choke. running just fine. Okay, that's what the problem was with this motorcycle. That's absolutely what the problem was with this bike. All this extra horse shit, okay? This should all be hooked up to a charcoal catch can somewhere on this bike. I don't know where it's at. I'm not tearing the whole bike apart to try to find it. Okay. Right here. Let's get you guys down here closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, right here, top of the carburetor, there's a vacuum port. Okay. This pre-bent line should go to that vacuum port. Okay. You have all these other lines. So if you put this here, these three lines are going to suck fresh air. All your vacuum is coming here, and it's not drawing the fuel up into the engine. Now, it was running on ether because I poured starting fluid straight into the induction system. Starting fluid straight through it. So it was drawing something burnable through the Venturi, but not up through the carburetor because there wasn't enough vacuum, because the rest of wherever all that emissions horse shit is supposed to be hooked up, it's not hooked up. I don't know where it's supposed to go. I don't care. This is Pennsylvania, not California. You don't need all those emissions. Hey, man, you don't know. Hey, no problem, dude. That's what we're about here. Like, I am not, I never went to school for this. I went to school to be a machinist. I ended up being a truck driver. And in my younger life, I never had enough money to have a nice motorcycle. Okay. So I had to learn to work on old junk because it's all I could afford, and I kept it running. And that's what this channel is about. Teaching you how to fix your own bike so you don't got to pay someone like me. Like, this is a sliding fee. If I use your bike on a video here on my channel, I don't charge as much. My fees go anywhere from $30 an hour, because I get paid at least close to what I make in my day job, to $75 an hour. And it all depends on how much of a dick you are. If you're a cool person, I'll cut you a deal. And whether or not I want to do it, because I don't pay my bills from this, man. This is just for fun. So, T-Bird and Shade. That's my Sportster. That's my Electric Glide. That's my Super Glide in the corner. That Sportster belongs to someone else. We're not fixing their bike on the YouTube channel. We're just fixing it for them. They don't want their bike on the channel. That's a Suzuki VZ800 Marauder. It's finished. I'm waiting for the owner to come pick it up. He took it for the maiden voyage yesterday, and that would be the short that I uploaded yesterday. And yeah, it's up and running. Everything's fine. Did the shakedown run. But if you really want to hear sweet music, I'll give you some sweet music. That right there is sweet music. To me, anyway. All right, folks. We are almost done here. I should have studied engineering or been a machinist or went to school for mechanics and bikes. I've never been around it much growing up, though. See, that's it. I was. My parents, I'm Gen X, obviously. My parents were divorced. My dad is a C5-6 quadriplegic. In other words, he's paralyzed from about here down. Okay. And he used to, when I was a kid, he always wanted to teach me how to work on stuff, but doesn't have dexterity. He can kind of grip things a little, but he can't take apart a carburetor. But what he did do is in the summertime, I used to spend most of my summer with him. And on the weekends, what he did do a lot was he used to take me down to his buddy's place. And they were guys like me that had a day job, and they had a big garage, and they would take on cars and motorcycles, and they would, for a discount rate, they would fix them for people. And my dad would just hang out. And I stood around and I watched. And these guys were all cool, you know. It's the 80s and early 90s. Everybody smoked a little weed. My dad always had some weed, you know, and it fire up. You shouldn't do this with your kids, but I love my dad, you know. They'd smoke their weed and, hey, kid, come here, watch this. This is how you do this. And I learned a lot from them, and that sparked my interest in mechanics. They were all gnarly looking bikers with gray big beards like mine and stuff. And look how I grew up to be, right? So I decided to do this with YouTube to kind of recreate a little bit of my childhood and share my knowledge with somebody who could use it. And that's why we're here, man. So if you're watching my videos and you dig it, do me a favor. That like button and that subscribe button, treat it like it owes you money and smash it for me, will you? That helps me. I make a little bit of money off of this, helps keep the lights on here at the shop. This shop is a part of my house. My house is up on a hill. I bought this place just so I could do this and share my knowledge, make a few extra bucks, and do what I love to do most, which is ride and work on motorcycles. So that's where we're at. Let's turn the gas off on this machine and let's start putting it back together. We're going to do some decisive editing on this bike. Okay. We don't need all of this. We don't. Okay. This should have a charcoal can somewhere. Okay. If you overfill the gas tank on this bike, where this main line is going to, okay, up in the side of the tank, there should be a vent here. And if you overfill the gas tank, that will vent to this, which if you plug it all into the charcoal can where it should be, that will allow that to drip out down through here, go into the charcoal can, get sucked up into the carb. We are no longer going to use that. We are going to tuck this line down here and out of the way, and that's where that's going to be. You overfill your bike now, it's just going to spill that gas on the ground, which isn't going to hurt a thing. I have to go back and watch some of the previous streams. Hey man, that would be cool. Check out my videos too, dude. I have some how-to videos. It is so much easier and quicker for me to do this live than it is for me to actually take the time to make a how-to video. It's just easier to do it live. It takes half the time, and then I could actually fix someone's bike in a timely manner and get it back to them. But my favorite thing to do is to create moto vlogging videos, and that's basically I have a helmet that my GoPro hooks onto, and I jump on my Harley and I fire up the GoPro and I take a little ride, and I like to teach people history, stuff like that. And that is my favorite thing in the world to do. This is going to actually be quite a fight to get it back in where it goes. And I don't know if I want to mess with it today. I think I might call her quits. I'll have to try from the other side. But basically, the airbox should come out of here, and then you put this back in the airbox and you slide this through, and then the airbox will come back in. But in order to get that airbox out, I have to deal with a rounded over bolt, and we're not in the mood to deal with that right now. Somebody really bunged it up, and I just don't want to have to fight with it, and unfortunately I kind of do have to. It's either that or take the carburetor back off of here, slide this back in place. We can do that too. Get the carburetor loose, back off, and slide this in place. But I think maybe we're going to try to off camera because we're done. We're going to try to get that other bolt off. We're going to get this bike all put back together. What's it say? I got to get up and say hi to your dad. Yeah, he'd appreciate that, man. He can't get around too much anymore. He's only allowed up in this wheelchair a few hours a day. So, anyways, we're gonna end the stream here. My phone should be dying. I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna have to fight with a rounded over bolt, and we're gonna do that off camera. I have no clue what that's gonna take. We're gonna try vice grips first. If that doesn't work, we might get the wheel of death up and just cut the son of a basket off. Either way, we'll get it. We fixed the problem. The problem is this bike is either missing the charcoal can for the emission system, or it's buried in there behind this airbox. And basically, this whole menagerie of stuff was never hooked up right to begin with. We eliminated it. We eliminated the emission system. The bike fires up, runs, and idles, and it didn't do that before. I promise you, when I do put the air cleaner on this bike, we'll run tip-top and we'll be just perfect. But that's a job for maybe later. I'm going to shut the phone off now, end the stream. I'm going to go have me some lunch, and when I'm in a little better mood after I've eaten, I will fight with that bolt and get it out. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Well, we got one more commenter. I'm leaning hard towards a Honda Shadow for my first real bike. Last one I owned was an orange Honda 50 mini bike. Hey, dude, go with the Honda Shadow. Trust me, you'll like it. You'll get bored with it eventually. You're gonna want something bigger, but yeah, you can't go wrong with a Honda Shadow. All right, man. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, like I said, that like and subscribe button. Treat it like it owes you money and smash it for me, will you? I'll catch you later.